Okay, so I want to say good afternoon. It's 1:12 p.m. and it's Saturday, October 20th. I am a targeted individual. This is a description to describe a victim of electronic warfare. This is World War III. It's classic German Nazi tactics. A lot of psychological terrorism and feelings of no control over your own life or your own body. It's classic Auschwitz, only they've managed to do it within yourself, or you're trapped within yourself with other slaves, in fact, who are going to be controlled to hurt you. So there are people who are about to walk by, so I'm going to pull the camera down. I basically want to go back to my original belief system, is that this is, I just got psyoped. This is white supremacy. And this will always be hard for victims who are white to grasp, because they are in fact white. They are also victims of white supremacy. And I also wanted to say that today is PAX International's podcast. This is Derek. He's a veteran of the United States military, and he's a veteran of this new World War. That's number 3. It's actually, in the context of the description of World War, it's actually World War III because it's global. World War II was, in fact, a fight between the Europeans. No one else was involved except for a few Asian countries. And then maybe Africans were exploited for their minerals, because to make weapons, you need to get access to the Middle East and to get access to African minerals to make certain types of weapons. They get the metals, and in particular, to make a computer, you need diamonds. There's a woman with her child, so I don't want to act like that's cool. I don't want to, their futures are doomed. Unless we TIs expose the tactics that they're using. And yes, we are going to be a tragic group when they look back at us, and that's okay. The people who will be in the literature as heroes will be people like Derek. So, 9 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Mountain and 6 p.m. Pacific, he has a conference call. That's Derek Robinson. The call number is 319-527-2701. The access code is 248671. Now, often when you have remote neural monitoring, they're basically reading your mind. So, that's a challenge. It's a challenge to pay your bills, emails to your accounts, personal information, memories. They have full access to this. Like the true consciousness of the planet says, let go and let God. Okay? And unfortunately, as the great saying is, as above, as above, so below. So you really can't escape it. So I'm going to read from a book that I had read when I was a teenager. It's called The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. It's a book by Neely Fuller. It was written in 1971. He was a war veteran and worked for the government, and asked questions, as a black man. He's an elderly man. You can go online. Once you get past the victims listening to this hero for the black race of America, and globally, because he has a following that's global. He has a following from Jamaica, Haiti, Africa, Europe, black people who are suffering from white supremacy. Even though we're targeted, we still need to acknowledge that this is occurring. And even when we are attacked by our own as black people, and as they use blacks to go after other people in the nations. Globally, we have to understand that there's only one man behind this, and it's a white supremacist. This is bigger than the Nazi Party. This is the Nazi Party elevating itself to another height. Okay, so I'm going to read from his book, and I'm doing this basically to empower myself and you, and think about what you were like before your targeting became so severe. There was something about you that made you a threat. For the people who are targeted with devastating tactics, there's a reason. And the elite have a program. All of those who inspire any kind of positive change are going to be attacked. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. That's important, and you should collect the data. What is it about you that makes you get attacked so severely? Okay, so racism, a basic perspective. The matter, sometimes referred to as the race problem, is the basic initial unfinished business among the people of the known universe. Therefore, it is not possible to effectively speak and or act to eliminate any major problem that involves people without first eliminating the problem of racism in every area of activity, including economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. In order to do this, it is necessary for victims of racism, non-white people, in effective numbers to know and understand who the racists are, how they function, and for what ultimate purpose. The victims of racism must also know and understand how the power of the racists to practice racism can be mollified and or eliminated by victims of racism speaking and or acting as individual persons. Racism. Some initial questions. Why race? What makes racism so important as a problem? Are there not other problems among the people of the world that are more greater? What about the problems of unemployment, housing, food shortages, healthcare, robbery, and laziness? What about tribalism, sexism? What about the confusion that exists in the area of religion? What about capitalism and communism and drugs and alcohol and ignorance and pollution and lying politicians? Why race? Is it now narrow-minded to see racism as the major evil? Did not other evils exist long before the practice of racism? What about the problems of distrust and greed and envy and murder among non-white people as well as white? What about economics? Why not see to it that everyone is adequately fed and housed first? Why not work to establish a system that guarantees that every person will be comfortable and protected regardless of color or non-color? Why not reach for a greater goal? Why not eliminate the problems of distrust, greed, envy, and murder among all the people? Why single out the race issue as being more important than any of the other problems that continue to plague the people of the known universe? Why continue to be bogged down in endless squabbles about conflict between white people and black people? Why not eliminate the other major problems? And by doing so, through that process, dismantle the need for people to practice racism. Why not have the smartest people of goodwill, regardless of color or sex or age, come together and solve the real problems of the world instead of wasting time with what is really an artificial barrier? Racism. Some initial answers. 2 facts. 1. The white people of the known universe are collectively the smartest and the most capable of all people. And 2. The white supremacist races are the smartest and the most capable of all the white people. Of all the people of the known universe, both white and non-white, those white people who practice racism, white supremacy, have the greatest ability to use truth, to use it in such manner as to produce justice and correctness in all places, in all areas of activity, in the shortest period of time. The white people who practice racism know that they could, if they chose to do so, produce justice and correctness among the people of the known universe. They are smart enough to do this. They also know, however, that in the process of producing justice and correctness, they would also eliminate white supremacy and racism. Knowing this, they have chosen not to produce justice and correctness. They prefer to continue to practice white supremacy, though they fully understand that in order to practice white supremacy, they must do so by promoting falsehood, non-justice, and incorrectness. They apparently have judged that white supremacy is better than revealing truth. They apparently believe that the value of white supremacy is at least as valuable as the practice of justice and correctness. To them, the promotion of white supremacy has proven to be, in many respects, better than justice and better than correctness. The white supremacist racists have a total need to be and to feel supreme over all non-white people at all times. This supremacy is what they value most, though they know that it can only be maintained by promoting falsehood, non-justice, and incorrectness through the skilled use of deceit, direct violence, and or the threat of direct or indirect violence. The masters of racism, white supremacists, have chosen to continue this practice for no apparent basic reason than to be proud of themselves for causing others to be fearful of them and or to be dependent on them. Such a relationship is non-just and incorrect. This is not the way that any people should relate to each other. Those white people who practice white supremacy should stop doing so. They should strive to become wise instead of being satisfied with being smart. The knowledge and understanding that they possess is a gift. That gift should not be wasted on what is fundamentally an ego-producing enterprise. It is incorrect to squander the gift of knowledge and understanding on the promotion of racism. All knowledge and all understanding should be used to produce a universe in which no people, white or non-white, abuse each other. The basic duty of each and every person in the known universe is to find truth and to use truth in such manner as to produce justice and correctness at all times, in all places, in all areas of activity. In practice, there is no other way for any person in the known universe to justify his or her existence. Now, I think that as I'm going to go back into my own agenda, because I think this is specifically, my targeting is specific to this body that I inhabit, this brain. And many of you are targeted for different reasons. It is valuable to know why certain people are hurt by white supremacy, even if whites go after each other. That's in fact white supremacy over each other. It's hard to accept this when you are the most powerful group on the planet. And it's hard for us to acknowledge that truth and that we actually need your help. That in fact, blacks can only cope and exist as third-class citizens. There are issues that we have to handle. Remote neural monitoring, if they're reading your mind, you might as well go for your authentic self. I'm using a new tactic today. Instead of going into my anger about being destroyed by my quote-unquote own race, I'm going to go after my authentic self, which is to stop white supremacy and global domination.